Hi, I'm Steve Johnson, the owner of Virtuosity.
And I'm Christan Griego with Getzen and Edwards Instrument Company.
Today we're going to tell you why your trombone valve absolutely sucks. Christan?
Oh. No, in all seriousness here, I'm the one that wanted to bring this up. I've been in the factory, I've been doing something recently. I've been playing on a straight trombone, no valve.
Okay.
I have my small bore, I have a large bore, straight tenor, and I have a bass set up with no valves. And I recently gave Jesse the straight bass, and I made him play it. Mm-hmm. And two things happen. Well, you have a slide. That's one. And you're like, what? And then the second thing that happens is it's so fast. It's a straight tube. And I was just talking to you about natural trumpets. Mm-hmm. How when you eliminate rotors and or pistons, what happens?
Better response immediately.
Fast response. And I feel like as trombonists and musicians, we've forgotten what that is. Because we're always used to what happens when you put a piston, a rotor, a Thayer, a Hagman. It doesn't matter. Whatever valve you put on, you're adding mass and you're changing the airflow to go through the wrap. It doesn't matter if it's one of the new wraps. It's still the air's still got to go and deviate, and you're also adding mass. What happens when you add mass on a trumpet?
Gets darker, gets really much more difficult to respond quickly.
It gets more sluggish. If you're walking with a backpack and you keep adding weight, what's going to happen? The workload increases. And so you have to be really cognizant of this. And so practicing on a straight trombone will teach you what a trombone is again. And it will get rid of the disconnect of having a rotor, having compression loss. Because there's always compression loss, whether it be on a trumpet, a piston, mm-hmm. as to not having a piston. Mm-hmm. Even the best are going to have a certain percentage of compression loss. Mm. And it's the same for rotors, and it's the same for Hagmans, it's the same for... There is no perfect valve yet. So I would suggest trying a straight trombone again, trying a natural, and then comparing your modern instrument, which is going to honestly drive designers mad because it's the hardest thing to try and get close to. And it's what I'm trying to achieve whenever I'm designing an instrument. I was just working with Getzen, and I had to do the 1447, which is a marching band instrument. Mm-hmm. But it's a straight large bore trombone. Because marching bands, they've always played small bore, and guess what? Then they don't get as big a sound as they want. But they're trying to make people, so they'll get bigger mouthpieces, but then they work too hard. So we actually balanced out a large bore straight trombone. And coming off this project, it's taught me a lot. That valves suck. and there's always a compromise in these instruments. And you have to be aware of that. There is no perfect valve and or piston.
Because of all this compression loss and the change of the performance of the instrument, when is it appropriate to have just that straight large bore, and when do we really need that valve to be involved?
Well, if you actually look, most orchestral music, you can probably perform 80% on tenor principle without that mass. Also, adding the mass of the valve is going to do one thing. It's going to darken the sound up. And if you look in Europe, a lot of principal players play on straight trombones. So 80% of the time, you only need it 90% of the time? Wait.
That makes sense.
No, so I think it's good if you start running into partials that are feeling funky and you're having some issues with your instrument, which you think are you, it's a perfect time to just grab a straight trombone and reset. It may not be you. There's an oil gap that's with all valves. And a lot of times trombone players and trumpet players are great at maintaining their instruments. They're always 100% perfect with that oil gap, which is filled. And it's always filled. The second there's no oil in your pistons, rotors, valves, there's going to be more loss of air.
That makes sense.
Because it's not filled. The valves are designed and pistons are designed to have oil around them. And that's going to be the highest seal you can achieve. But when you're feeling something wonky or fishy, go to a straight trombone. It'll tell you. It'll give you absolute information because it's just tubing, and you don't have the interruption and the mass added.
It's almost too simple. It feels like it was the answer all along, and we've just kind of compromised things going on.
Well, and that's exactly it. Well, bass trombone players, I'm having this problem in this valve and this valve, and this go to straight. Oh, it's still there, and you work out the problem without any of the extra mass and problems, and then you can go back once this is solid.
So if you have an opportunity to try out just a straight large bore, whether it be a tenor or a bass, definitely do it. It sounds like it's going to do nothing but help your playing and get you on the right track.
Yeah, and if you're on a modular instrument, talk to the makers, because a lot of times they'll make the neck pipes, like for the 350, which has been made since the 1989 for Edwards. We make a TN400 that you can take the valve section out and just put it right in. Makes it simple.
That's going to be great. Good luck out there. Keep trying more trombones. Hold on. I got to process.
How do we?
Yeah, how do we wrap that? How do we tie that back in?
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah, it does. It makes total sense. I mean, I spent a year of my master's doing natural trumpet.
Yeah.
It did nothing but help my piston playing.
Right.